Let's say a plumber walks into a bank to ask for a loan. The bank employee would tell him to wait for a while and he would get back to him. While waiting on a chair in the corner and hoping for the best, a pregnant woman comes in saying that she's going to be a single mother and is asking for a loan. She is also asked to wait as well, while the bank employee takes those cases to the manager in order to make a decision on how much they get to borrow if they can get a loan in the first place. But then suddenly a man in a suit comes in and every employee goes to the door to welcome him. He is a businessman who has millions of dollars in the bank. He walks in and asks for a loan. He is directly taken to the manager's office to make the deal, while the single mother and the plumber are still waiting aside. Why don't these three people have equal opportunities from the bank? How about having all these three people treated the same way and given access to the same opportunities as long as they meet the conditions of taking out a loan? Our financial system requires us to walk into a bank to ask for a loan, and the bank will make the decision and would get a good profit out of it if we are to get one. With decentralized finance, or DeFi, you wouldn't need a bank to get a loan. You wouldn't need a third party that would judge you according to what you do, how much you have, or even your social status. DeFi is making an unprecedented change in the history of finance. Welcome to today's video, where we will be explaining what DeFi is, and we will be laying out its underlying issues that have led to the emerging DeFi 2.0. So what is DeFi, and what is DeFi 2.0, and what's in it for you? Listen up as we dig deeper into this new system that will remove the need of having to deal with banks and other traditional financial third parties for any kind of transaction. Decentralized finance. Back in 2008, Bitcoin emerged as a new kind of currency, promising a revolutionary step to get rid of financial institutions. And this is exactly how we can think about DeFi, only it is taken to the next level. In those 14 years since Bitcoin first emerged, the blockchain technology has spawned not only thousands of other cryptocurrencies, but an entire industry built upon this technology, ranging from cryptocurrency exchanges, crypto wallets, virtual lands, NFT marketplaces, decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs. Along the way, Ethereum has also emerged as a platform with its own blockchain, token, and even coding language. While Bitcoin only does payments, Ethereum has created a playground that allows other applications to be created. It has expanded the way the blockchain is used way beyond a payment system and has actually provided tools for the developers to create complete programs, which are financial products known as DeFi apps, and are automated into the protocol by the use of smart contracts. Let's go back to the bank example to understand more about the revolution of smart contracts. Anyone who goes to ask for a loan from any financial institution must deal with certain rules that would determine whether he gets the loan or not, how much he can get, and the terms of this loan, and then they would be able to create the contract accordingly. So, technically, every contract that we have in the real world, not just for a loan, but to take a mortgage or to trade a stock, for example, has certain rules. Well, when those rules are taken and coded, we'd have smart contracts. So smart contracts are just a string of codes that automatically execute an action, like giving you a loan, when specific predetermined parameters are met. What makes smart contracts even better is that they aren't hosted on anyone's computer, not even on the one who wrote it. They are, in fact, stored on the ledger of the blockchain. Smart contracts can't be changed, and they would function eternally within the same code they are originally written in. So far, so good. But what makes DeFi original and much better than a bank? Well, first, DeFi is open. So that plumber, that single mother-to-be, and that millionaire would all have exactly the same access to the same products as long as they meet conditions pre-laid in the smart contract. Secondly, a DeFi is much more efficient than a bank, as it makes the process of transactions much more fluid. You don't have to wait for your transfer to be cleared from the bank. Moving funds is almost instantaneous. Last but not least, DeFi is much more cost-effective than other centralized financial institutions. When you are making transactions, the intermediaries that facilitate those transactions will usually take fees, ones that are extremely higher than what you would be paying on DeFi apps. And sometimes we might need to deal with a series of those intermediaries who end up taking a drastic cut, costing us a lot. Types of DeFi. There are basically three types of DeFi apps: lending or borrowing. With DeFi, you can either lend your crypto to a protocol, like Aave for example, and you would get interest or rewards in exchange, and you can also borrow some digital assets from those protocols. Trading. When you are using a crypto exchange, that exchange would be taking custody of your assets with every trade. But with the system of decentralized exchanges, or DEXs, people are able to trade with one another directly. Derivatives. In the traditional financial system, a derivative is a contract that derives its value from the performance of a certain asset. DeFi derivative platforms, like synthetics, can allow people to make leveraged trades. This can be used if you don't want to trade in a particular token or coin, or if you want to bet for more than you have. Problems with DeFi 1.0. Let us take the issue of trading within DeFi. If, for instance, you want to trade your ETH to BTC, you'd head to Coinbase or Binance, which are known as centralized exchanges. What those exchanges do is they would take custody of your assets with every trade you make. Thus, the decentralized exchanges, or DEXs, are born to completely eliminate the intermediary and let the people trade with each other. Examples of DEXs are Uniswap and PancakeSwap. DEXs take away the benefits and profits from owning and operating the exchange and give them to liquidity providers. But wait, what is liquidity and who are its providers? Let us explain further. If you head down to a car dealership to buy a car, the number of cars they have represents their liquidity, and liquidity would directly impact the kind of deal you can get. Let us say you find they have 20 used cars. Technically, the demand in this case is for one car, while their supply is 20. So you know you would be able to get a good deal at some point. But if their supply is only 2 cars, while the demand remains 1 car, you know you wouldn't get much of a deal, and the price would be much higher. So when we go back to DEXs, liquidity, or in this case the tokens and coins that are put for trade in the DEX, is provided by the users. This is known as yield farming. Liquidity providers are the users who would provide their tokens to the DEX liquidity in exchange for rewards, while other users of the DEX can swap them with other tokens. And this is where one of the main issues of DeFi is. Since they operate on the concept of having liquidity pools, the users put in their coins in a DEX to get rewards. But if a user suddenly finds a higher yield somewhere else, he can just take out his tokens all at once to stake them somewhere else. This can result in not having enough liquidity in the DEX, and with the fluctuating prices of crypto, a user might end up losing money when he participates in the pool, as he can only withdraw from what is within the pool. Another issue with DeFi is the extremely high gas fees on the Ethereum blockchain, as well as its slow transaction time caused by its proof-of-work model. DeFi 2.0. Those problems of the DeFi ecosystem are being tackled by DeFi 2.0. For the high fees and slow transaction time, DeFi 2.0 is migrating the projects to alternative blockchains like Polkadot and Avalanche. As for the liquidity issue, it is being solved by moving the liquidity from the hands of the users to what is equal to a decentralized bank. This would prevent whales from affecting liquidity by putting in or withdrawing large amounts of tokens. So instead of having the users lend their tokens for liquidity, decentralized protocols start handling this. Such protocols accumulate the tokens and stake them at exchanges or lend them out, and the users would be rewarded with the token of the exchange when they stake. Olympus DAO. This project acts as a gateway to the second version of DeFi. Olympus is a DAO, and if you would like to know in detail what a DAO is, press the I button on the top right of the screen to watch how DAO works and fully understand it. Olympus is a decentralized financial infrastructure owned by the community and aims at bringing more stability and transparency. Olympus solves the issue of liquidity by owning it, and it builds a treasury where it accumulates all of the native tokens. Those treasury tokens provide liquidity to DEX. With Olympus, the users are awarded for staking OHM tokens, and OHM is an algorithmic floating cryptocurrency, which means that it maintains a stable purchasing power and simultaneously has a market-driven value of $1. Olympus promises a high rate of return, which encourages investors to buy more OHM. This is one example of a project that is tackling the issues found in DeFi 1.0. If you'd like to get more information about Olympus DAO, check out this video. So now that you know the difference between DeFi 1.0 and DeFi 2.0, tell us where you think more improvement can be made. We believe that such systems would ultimately replace our traditional financial institutions and provide more democracy to our future world. Share with us your thoughts on the matter in the comments down below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content such as this. See you soon!